Hello, and welcome to Toffee Blue Opposition View. I'm Gerry, still, and today we got a special treat for you. In preparation for Sunday's Burnley versus Everton match at Goodison, we are going to be talking with Tyrone Marshall, who is the Burnley reporter for the Lancashire Telegraph. Super nice guy, and he's going to be giving us some insight on the Clarets. So, thanks very much for talking to me, Tyrone.
No problem.
So let's talk Burnley. You've had a strong start to the season against quality opposition. Has it been business as usual, like continuing the same approach from last year, or have there been any major changes?
No, there's been a few subtle changes. Away from home it's improved a great deal, and the performances away from home seem to match up sort of more closely with the home performances now in terms of intensity and how they've approached it. And also at home, they've changed the style a little bit. I think they're trying to play a bit more football this year, keep the ball on the ground a bit more. It's more of kind of a 4-4-5-1, more of a three-man midfield this year, where it was two up front for most of last season. So they have adapted the way they've played, and they're definitely trying to play a bit more football and keep the ball on the ground. But the major improvement, as you say, has been the away form, where they're unbeaten at the moment, and they've had some really good results away from home. So I think that's been the big change for them.
Now, I've watched Burnley many times throughout the years, but how would you describe Burnley's style of play to someone who's never really watched them before? Kind of, I guess, elaborating on what you were just saying.
Yeah, I would say intense is probably the best word to describe them. They work incredibly hard. They don't give the opposition a minute's peace. They're sort of always in your face and always trying to make it, they want people to come off the pitch against them. Even if you've beaten them, they want you to know that you've been in a game and had to fight for it. They don't sort of give any free passes away. They're very, very committed. They press quite a lot. They're a team full of energy. They've adapted it a bit this year, like I say, and playing a bit more football, playing through midfield a bit more. But I think the best way to describe it is sort of energetic and intense. Teams, when you play Burnley, teams know they're in a game against Burnley. Right.
They always seem disciplined, organised, and they're trying to outwork you. That's what.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Yeah, they do sort of take pride in outworking the opposition and covering more ground than the opposition. And although it doesn't guarantee anything, I think they think it always gives them a good chance. If they put more into the game than the opposition, then they've got a decent chance of coming out with the results. And they also are very well organised. Even with a change of formation, the back four are drilled into minute detail. Really, they know where to be and what to do when the ball's in a certain position. The defence, the goalkeeper in the back four are incredibly organised, and that helps them in terms of limiting sort of clear chances that the opposition have.
All right, so I guess the next question: you have a lot of new faces this season. Brought a lot of people. Just for example, you got Chris Wood, Charlie Taylor, Jack Cork, Jonathan Walters, Phil Bardsley. I mean, you brought in a lot of people.
Yeah.
Which of your new additions has impressed you the most?
Probably Jack Cork. A lot of them are sort of squad depth new signings that they're kind of on the bench at the moment and just sort of adding to the general depth in the squad. But in terms of the regular starters, it would have to be Cork or Wood. I mean, Wood scored a couple of goals, but Cork has played more often at the moment. He's been a regular in midfield, and he's been a sort of key man in the way they have changed their approach this season. He gets the ball down in midfield and plays, but he's also very good at kind of shielding and protecting the back four. He's very clever positionally. I think he's probably been Burnley's best player so far this season. So you'd have to say out of all the new signings, he's been the most eye-catching so far.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of players that do what Cork does. To a lot of inexperienced football fans, they watch the game, they don't realize how much of an influence someone like that has on the game.
Yeah, absolutely. He is very influential, and he's been at Burnley before. He was on loan here for about a year and a half, sort of back in 2010, 2011. So the fans kind of know him and appreciate him, and since then he's gone on to have a good Premier League career. So, the fans knew what they were getting. Right. I think they've been delighted with him. He's formed a really good partnership with Stephen Toffee in midfield. You're right in what you say, but it's certainly not gone unnoticed, I think, by Burnley fans. They knew what they were getting, and they can see the kind of the impact he's had on the team so far.
Yeah, it's always great when somebody can just come right in and contribute like that. That's not often,
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah, he's fitted in very well.
Thinking about the whole roster now, not just new players, which players have surprised you this season?
Probably Toffee actually, alongside Cork in midfield. He had a pretty difficult time in his first season here. He was signed for fairly big money for Burnley standard, £7.5 million, and Belgium international, had about 44, 45 caps when he arrived. Played in the Champions League, so he came with quite a big reputation, but it never really worked for him last year. He never kind of got up to speed. He never kind of got Dyche fit, as they say around here. Like we say, demands a lot from his players, and the work rate's quite high. And Toffee was never really there last year. He never completed 90 minutes in the Premier League. He didn't play in that two-man midfield. They felt they couldn't trust him in that two-man midfield to do the work that was required. And it kind of looked in the summer like it was just going to be 1 year, and that was it. It looked like he was off, but he really sort of knuckled down in pre-season. He put in the work, he put in the hard yards. He got fit in pre-season. He's had a really good run. He started all the Premier League games this season, and he's been good. He's completed 90 minutes on a couple of occasions, and he kind of looks like he understands the Premier League now. He understands what to do away from the ball, off the ball as well as on the ball. I think the improvement in his game and the way he kind of understands the Premier League has been massive, and that's a huge help for them as well, because there's no doubting he's a brilliant technical player. You don't kind of win all those caps for Belgium and play in the Champions League if you're not a good technical player. So to have that in your side as well as what he can do off the ball now has been huge for Burnley.
Right. I read your article about him. It was a pretty recent one where you were talking about, or he was describing how he needed a full preseason, and Dyche had told him, "Hey, let's get a full preseason and let's see where we're at that point."
That's right. Yeah. And that was massive for him, having that full preseason and kind of understanding the role he had to play, and the fact that you're not going to see as much of the ball at Burnley as you are playing for Standard Liège in Belgium or Anderlecht in Belgium or Porto in Portugal. It's a very different experience for him. So I think having that full pre-season has helped, and he came back in the summer with the right attitude. It would have been easy for him to come back and kind of mope and think, I'm going to be out of here soon anyway, so not be too worried about it. But he came back with a fantastic attitude. I think he really impressed all the staff during the summer with the way he approached pre-season, and you can see at the moment that it's really paying off.
Yeah, so many players, they kind of, after a year where they struggle, they just kind of make a decision on leaving, and they don't take the time to actually think, I could actually change this myself with a little hard work,
That's it, yeah, and he has had that approach, and it's been quite refreshing to see.
Awesome. So it's kind of a negative question, but what players have disappointed? I don't know, it's kind of a harsh word, but, maybe they haven't performed exactly the way you thought they would?
Yeah, I wouldn't say, I mean, Burnley are sitting 8th in the league, and given their fixture list, it's been a fantastic start, and I don't think anyone expected them to be in this position. So I don't think there's anyone per se who's disappointed. The one area the manager would probably look at maybe as well and think we could get more out of that area is probably out wide. He's a little bit short of options out wide. Robbie Brady and Johan Berg Gudmundsson have been starting wingers, and there's not a great deal of kind of competition or options there. They've both had their moments this season. Brady's kind of been another one who's enjoyed a full pre-season, has improved for that. They've both had their moments and had their good games, but they're two who perhaps you'd think could offer a bit more consistency to the team, and creativity-wise, I think a lot rests on Brady's shoulders. He's very good at set pieces. His crossing's very good, but at the moment, it's still a little bit inconsistent. So you'd probably think those two perhaps can offer a little bit more. But I wouldn't say there was anyone particularly who's disappointed, or you're thinking, they need dropping or changing or resting or anything like that. I'd say at the moment everyone's just about doing okay, but you could certainly think there's maybe a little bit more to come from the two wide players for sure. Yeah,
your team has started well when you're struggling to figure out, who's not performing up to standards.
Exactly.
That's a nice thing.
Exactly. Yeah, it's been a good start.
Speaking of starting well, Tarkowski, he's looked strong. Just a really stout defender. Does Burnley, and I have to ask you this because we're with Everton, does Burnley miss Michael Keane?
I would say they probably still do. I think a team like Burnley is always going to miss a player of Michael Keane's quality. He was fantastic while he was here, and he was good throughout his time here, but he really stepped it up a level last season in the Premier League. And when you lose a 24-year-old centre half for 30 million as a team like Burnley, you're going to miss him. But they have sort of coped without him pretty well so far. Ben Mee kind of went under the radar alongside him last season while Keane took the headlines, so It helped that you kind of know what you're going to get with Ben Mee. He's had another season. It's his first season playing centre half in the Premier League last year, so he's really sort of come on for that. And like you say, Tarkowski was he was here at Burnley last year, but he didn't get much game time. But he was entrusted to be Keane's replacement by Dyche. They didn't sign another centre half in the summer, and he's kind of grabbed the opportunity with both hands. He has been really, really good so far. He's good on the ball like Keane was, but he's more of an old-fashioned centre half as well. He's more a kind of a head it, block it, just clear it, get it out centre half. And the Burnley have been under a bit of pressure in those away games so far, as you'd expect, and he's been fantastic in those, in making sure that when the crosses come in, he's there to head them out. When people are taking shots at goal, if it can't be cleared, he's there to get a block on it. So, I think you're always going to miss a player like Keane, but Tarkowski has filled those boots pretty well so far.
Yeah, I'd say there's always room for like an old school defender that just does the job.
Absolutely, it's something Dyche likes as well. He's spoken in the past about there's kind of a fad, I suppose, at the moment to have defenders who can build attacks and play out from the back, and it's almost looked at, are you good with the ball before can you actually defend? And I think it's kind of something he would like to see reset. And I think first and foremost he wants his defenders to be able to do the defending before they think about being good with the ball and being able to play out from the back.
So, kind of, we're still rolling with Michael Keane here. Do Burnley supporters overall still see him in a positive light?
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah, I think everyone accepts that it was obviously a move up for him. There was no sort of surprise that he went. He Leicester were interested when they'd won the league the year before. Keane had rejected a new contract, so I think it was throughout last season it was pretty obvious he was going to be leaving in the summer. And it always seemed that Everton was the most likely destination. I think Burnley fans can appreciate that he gave great service to the club. He was a fantastic player for the club. Signed for 2 million, sold for potentially 30. That's a great return and a great profit. He played for England while he was here. He did great things for Burnley, and he's been very complimentary about what Burnley did for him as well. So I think there's still a great deal of respect from the Burnley fans there. And I think they can all kind of understand that it was time for him to move on. He'd had some fantastic times here, but it was time for him to kind of challenge himself at a higher level in kind of top 7 in the Premier League and in Europe as well. So, I think if he plays on Sunday, I think he'll get a good reception from the away end, and I think he'll get a great reception when he comes back to Turf Moor later in the season.
Yeah, I'm hoping he's able to play. Just, if nothing else, just to have that moment.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always special.
A nice talking point if he does. Yeah, definitely.
So let's move on to Sunday.
Yeah.
How do you expect Burnley to line up?
I would think it'll be the one up front again. Yeah, they've played 4-4-2 just once this year against Crystal Palace at home, a game which they won, but they didn't play particularly well in. And it's, away from home against a team like Everton, the 3 away games so far against Chelsea, Tottenham and Liverpool, they've played one up front. I think it'll be the same again. I think Chris Wood probably be up front on his own, and aside from that, it'll be the 3 in midfield, probably Cork, Defoe and Hendrick, and then the wingers, and then the back 4. So I don't think there'll be too many surprises selection-wise or shape-wise. I think it will be try and kind of defend well, soak up what pressure you're going to face, and hope to create a couple of chances and take one, which they've done away from home so far.
Heaton hasn't been playing recently. He's injured, right?
He is, yes. He's dislocated his shoulder, so he's out for a few months. So Nick Pope's been in goal for the last couple of games.
Right.
Who's done sort of fairly well standing in. It's his first run of games in the Premier League. But he's kind of settled in pretty well and seems confident at the moment. He's kept a clean sheet last week, kept a clean sheet when he came on for Heaton against Palace, only conceded 1 at Liverpool, so he's settled in fairly well.
Yeah, you said dislocated shoulder, and I cringed because I've had that happen 3 times. It's just ridiculous pain. It actually hurt worse than when I tore my ACL. I just
oh God,
still get that shiver up my spine whenever anybody says that. So I'm hoping
that sounds painful.
Heaton comes back strong. He's a good keeper too. I'd like to. I want to see Pope play some more too, though. I haven't had the chance to see him play a lot. So
no, he's done well so far.
It's always nice just to have a quality backup who could just step right in and not miss a step.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I mean, there was a kind of a few question marks over him, and that he'd not played at this level before, and only played 30-odd championship games. But yeah, at the moment, he looks like he is just that, a very solid backup, and I don't think Burnley have overly missed Heaton so far. They're going to be tested for another few months without him, but so far they've not missed him massively.
All right, so Sunday, who do you expect to be the impact players, the danger men?
For Burnley, you're probably looking at the striker. I imagine it'll be Wood again, who's started very well in his short time. He's got 2 league goals already and 1 in the cup, so I'd think him and potentially Brady as well. If but Burnley are a threat from set pieces, especially with Wood, who's fairly tall and Vokes if he comes on, and the defenders as well. And you'd imagine against Everton chances are going to be fairly limited, so any kind of opportunity to get to put crosses in the box, I think would be important. So I would think Brady and Wood are probably going to be the key men from that end.
I totally get that too, because I've seen Brady's quality on set pieces, and
Wood
is such a big guy. He can get on the end of those pretty easily.
He can.
It's nice to have a weapon like that too. We don't really have like a target man. That's something I know Koeman wanted, but didn't really come in. So
yeah, they are nice to have, especially for games like this when they can help out in their own box as well a little bit, probably.
Oh, that's definitely true. What's the opinion that most Burnley fans have of Everton?
I don't know really. I suppose Keane going there kind of probably changed opinions. I would think most people probably thought at the start of the season that they'd be pushing for top 7 again, and 7th kind of at a minimum with Keane going there. But obviously the start hasn't been what Everton wanted. So I imagine coming up to this weekend, given the start Burnley had away from home, that a lot of Burnley fans will be going there thinking they can get a result there for certain. I think they'd probably like to see in the long term Everton and Keane especially do very well, but this weekend I would think that they might be thinking Everton are a little vulnerable, especially with the game tomorrow night, and that they might be able to beat them.
Honestly, I think based on form, that's a more than reasonable expectation.
Definitely.
So, last question. Now, I know it's a very long season, but after a start like this, what is an acceptable finish for Burnley?
It's hard to say. I think staying up again is obviously the aim, and kind of building on another season of Premier League money and another season in the top flight just makes you a little bit more established. But with the start they've had, and they were a little bit disappointed the way they kind of finished last season. They finished the season fairly slowly, just 2 wins from the last 15 league games, and they didn't really kind of build on the excellent start they had. So I think this year they'll be looking to do a bit better than that. And while they'd probably accept and could take comfort out of just staying up again, I think they'll probably be looking a little bit higher as well, and trying to get kind of mid-table and above, and stay up a bit more comfortably than last time. Maybe try and aim for around 44, 45 points. They got 40 last year, so if they can build on that this year and maybe get another 5 or 6 on the board and look for somewhere around 14th or 13th, I would think that'd be attainable, and it would show kind of clear signs of progress as well.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. And so before I do, I just want to go ahead and tell you thank you so much for your time.
Not a problem.
This has been awesome. I'm just some American guy, so talking to a journalist is pretty fantastic for me. So
no worries, not a problem.
I guess, good luck on Sunday.
And to yourself.
Thanks a lot. All right, take care, man.
No worries. You too. Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot. See you later.
All right, see you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So I guess that about wraps it up. If you've enjoyed this experience, please subscribe to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel. Like this video. Throw us some comments. If you're listening via podcast, please rate, subscribe, all that hot stuff. Until next time, thanks so much. I'm out.